Hello everyone. Welcome to the third lecture of control systems. In this video, we are going to see about block diagram and signal flow graph. Before starting this video, I would suggest you to subscribe this channel to stay connected. So our first topic is block diagram. To understand this block diagram reduction method, first we are going to see some basic rules of block diagram. So here we are. As you can see that this is your original block diagram. Block diagram means block representation of the network, as you can see. So when networks are represented in blocks like this, then this is your block diagram. And now we will move to our first rule, which is combining blocks in series. You can see this here that the two blocks are here in series. So the resultant network would be the product of these two, which is G1 into G2. If X is your input, then after going to this block, the output here would be XG1, and then again this XG1 will enter this second block, and now the output will be XG1 into G2. So as you can see that these two are same. So we can say when two blocks are connected in series, then its equivalent diagram would be their product. In case they are connected in parallel like this, so here if X enters this block G1, then the output would be XG1, and here this X is entering again in G2. So the output will be XG2, and then they both are getting added or subtracted. So the equivalent output will be plus minus XG1 plus minus XG2. The sign depends on the sign available here. If we take X common, then we will get X plus minus G1 plus minus G2. So we can say that if two blocks are combined in parallel like this, then in their equivalent diagram, they are either subtracted or added depending on the sign. As you can see here, if here it's plus and plus both the side, then the output will be G1 plus G2. Similarly, if it's plus and minus, then output will be G1 minus G2. Similarly, you can extend this. The main theme here is to make the output same as the output in this case. So both the outputs should be same in order to make this diagram its equivalent diagram. So our next rule is shifting the summing element after the block. See, this is your summing element and this is your block. In some cases of block diagram reduction, you may need to shift this summing element after this block. So there you can use this rule. After the use of this summing element, the output here will be x1 plus minus x2 depending on the sign here, and then this will be your input for G1. So then you will get G1 into x1 plus minus x2. So this is the output which you will get. And in order to shift this summing element after this block, you have to insert this block G1. Now in this diagram, the output here will be x1 G1 and the output here will be x2 G1, and then after this summing element, the output will be x1 G1 plus minus x2 G1. If we take G1 common, then we will get x1 plus minus x2. So you can see that the output in both the cases are same. So now we can say that in order to shift this summing element after the block, you have to insert this additional block G1 here in order to make its output same. Now the next case is if you have to shift this summing element before the block. Again, here we will add one additional block, but here it would be 1 upon G1. See, the output here is again x1 G1, and when these two are added, or subtracted depending on the sign, then the output you will get is x1 g1 plus minus x2. And when this summing element is shifted here, so you will get this. And now you have to add this additional block, which is 1 upon g1. So here the output will be x2 upon g1. And then here after summing element, the output will be x1 plus minus x2 upon g1. And after this block g1, the output will be g1 x1 plus minus x2. So you can see that the output in both the cases are same. So in order to shift the summing element after or before the block, you have to add the appropriate additional block, as you can see. Now after shifting the summing point, we are shifting takeoff point. And similar to that, you have to add the additional block. So the output here is xg1, and in this case the output here is xg1, and here also it is xg1, and this is now your takeoff point here. So xg1 will act as input here, and when this enters this block, then the output is x. Why? xg1 into 1 upon g1, g1 get cancelled and you get x. So now you can see that this x and this x is same. So in order to shift the takeoff point after the block, we will insert an additional block, as you can see. Similarly, if you want to shift the takeoff point before the block, so here we have shifted this takeoff point after the block, and now we are shifting this takeoff point before the block. So here the output is x1 g1, and here also it is x1 g1. And now after shifting, we have to add this additional block g1. So here the output is xg1, and here also the output is xg1. See, the output are same. So we can shift the takeoff point before the block by adding an additional block. Now the transfer function. So the transfer function of a closed loop control system. As you can see, this is a closed loop. So the transfer function of this closed loop is g upon 1 plus minus hg, where plus minus depends upon the sign. So if here it is minus, then this would be plus, and if here it is plus, then here would be minus. So let us assume the output is C. So when this enters the H block, then you get the output CH, and then after the summing element, we get R minus plus CH as output, and this will act as input for this G block. So here at the output, we will get G into R minus plus CH, and this is nothing else but our output, which is C. So we can rewrite this equation as C is equal to GR minus plus CGH, and then we will move this term on the left side and the sign will change. So C plus minus CGH is equal to GR, and then you take common C here. So C into 1 plus minus GH is equal to GR, and then you can rewrite as C upon R is equal to G upon 1 plus minus GH, and you know that C is your output and R is your input, and output upon input is nothing else but your transfer function. So you can say that the transfer function of closed loop system like this is this. The important thing here to remember is this sign. See, this is minus plus, so we are getting here plus minus. If here it is minus, then you will get plus here, and if here is plus, then you will get minus here. So if you have the positive feedback, then here it will be subtracted, and if you have negative feedback, then here it would be added. Now the next rule is about the block diagram transformation, where we are making the feedback unity. So here you can see that this is your closed loop transfer function, and what we want here is to make the feedback element equal to unity or 1. So here transfer function is C upon R, which is G upon 1 plus minus GH or HG. And now here, so here in this case, if you consider this closed loop system only, and let the input here be X, then for this particular closed loop system, you can say that C upon X is what? GH means forward path element upon 1 plus minus forward path element into the feedback element, which is unity here. So you get C upon X is equal to GH and then 1 plus minus GH. And now what is X? So X is R by H. So we can place this value of X here. So we will get C upon R into H is equal to GH 1 plus minus GH, and then this HH will get cancelled and we will get C upon R is equal to G 1 plus minus GH. So you can see here that the output is same in both the case. So this is how you are going to convert the feedback element into unity. So the next rule is when you have to interchange the summing elements. So let us suppose you have two summing elements as shown in the figure and they both are together like this and you have to interchange it. So now the output here would be X plus minus Y, and the output here would be X plus minus Y plus minus Z. And in this diagram, here the output will be X plus minus Z, and here it would be X plus minus Z plus minus Y, which is also equal to X plus minus Y plus minus Z. So you can see that there is no difference in changing the summing element if they are together like this, if nothing is in between them. Now we have two special or critical rules. The first one is shifting the takeoff point after the summing element. So this is your takeoff point and here you are getting the output X, and we want to shift this takeoff point to here after the summing element. So in this case, what will happen? Here the input will be X again, and after the summing element the output will be X plus minus Y. Now in this figure, you have two summing elements. So here the output is what? X plus minus Y, and this act as a input in this case. So here it is X plus minus Y, and then you have here minus plus Y. So minus plus Y. So after this summing element you get the output as X, and here the output is X plus Y. You can see that this is the same as this. So we can say in order to shift the takeoff point after the summing element, we have to add another summing element with the sign opposite to this, as you can see. Similarly, if you have to shift the takeoff point before the summing element, like in this case, so the input is here X and Y, and after this summing element the output is X plus minus Y, and here also it is X plus minus Y, and in this case the input is X here, and after this summing point here the output is X plus minus Y, and here the output is X plus minus Y. So both are same to this and this. So now we can say that in order to shift the takeoff point before the summing element, we have to add another summing element with the same sign as the sign of the previous one. See, the main aim of using these rules are to modify your block diagram for its easy reduction. As an example, see this question from ESE 2018. For the block diagram as shown in the figure, the overall transfer function C by R is. So you have to find the overall transfer function of this network. Here you can see that we have two closed loop, 1 and 2. but they are interconnected like this, so we cannot use the transfer function formula here directly. So this was your question, and now what we are going to do, we are going to shift this block here before the takeoff point. So we know that from the formula that in order to shift this, we need to add an additional block here with the value 1 upon G2. And when 1 upon G2 is in series with this H1, then it gets multiplied. So we can rewrite this diagram like this. So here it is H1 upon G2. And now see, like summing element, you can interchange the takeoff point also if they are together and nothing is in between them. So after interchanging it, you will get this. So now you can see here that we have this perfect closed loop system. So now we are going to use the formula here. So what's the formula? Formula was G2 means forward path element upon 1. Here it is plus, which means the feedback is positive. Therefore, we will use minus sign here and then again G2 into feedback element, which is H2. So the equivalent block of this closed loop transfer function would be this. So this is your equivalent closed loop transfer function, and now these two blocks are in series. So their equivalent would be the product. So we will get G1 G2 upon 1 minus G2 H2. And now again you have this closed loop transfer function. This is your forward path element and this is your feedback path element. But here the feedback is negative, means denominator we will use positive sign. So this is your forward path element, then upon 1 plus y plus, because the feedback element was negative. Then the feedback element, which is H1 upon G2, and then again the forward path element, which is this. So after rearranging them, you will get this. So this is your answer. This is your C by R or transfer function of your system. So now you can see that how those rules helped us in solving these questions. Now next we will see the signal flow graph. Signal flow graph is a graphical representation of a control system. So this is your control system which we have drawn in block diagram. And now we are going to convert this into signal flow graph. So here all the system variables are represented by nodes. See, and with nodes representing each of the system variables. So what are the system variables here? It's ES, RS, BS, CS. These are the system variables. So we will denote a particular node here for each of the system elements. So these are your system elements, and then they are connected by a direct branches. So this is your direct branches, as you can see, each having a particular value. For example, for this path you have this value GS, and for this path you have the value 1, and similarly you can draw this. So this is your signal flow graph of a closed loop control system. For understanding it better, first we will see its terminology. So what is a node? Well, now you know the node. Node represents system variables and is equal to the sum of the all incoming signals at it. So in this case, ES is your node and it is equal to sum of the incoming signal. So what is the incoming signal here? This one and this one. This one is outgoing, so you are not going to consider here. So ES is equal to RS into 1 plus BS into minus 1, because here it is minus 1. So ES is equal to sum of all the incoming signals at it. Now the input node or source node, it is a node having only outgoing branches. So see this, in RS you don't have any incoming branches. Here we have only one branch and that too outgoing. So RS is your input node, then the output node or sink node. It is the node having only incoming branches. See, this is your CS, this is your output, and in order to justify its statement, we have extended this by using this 1. So now you can see here that here only we have incoming branches, there is no outgoing. So this is your output. Then mixed or chain node. It is a node having both incoming and outgoing branches. So these three nodes have both incoming and outgoing branches. So these are mixed or chain nodes. Then the path. Path is the traversal of the connected branches in the direction of branch arrow such that no node is traversed more than once. You have to remember this statement that it is not traversed more than once. So what is the path here? The path here is from RS to this 1, then GS, then 1. So this is your path. And if you consider this path as 1 and then GS, and then you go down here HS and again to GS and then to 1. So here this path is traveled twice, which is more than once. Therefore, this is not path. Path is what? 1 into GS into 1. So this is your path. Then you have forward path. Forward path is the path from input node to output node. So this is your input node and this is your output node. So this is your forward path. Here you may confuse about what is the difference between path and forward path. So here if we consider the path from CS to ES, then this is your path. But this is not your forward path because it is not from the input to output. We are just considering this path only. We are not considering this whole. Because when we consider this whole using this, then we have seen that this path is traveled twice. Therefore, this is not path. So forward path basically means a path from input node to output node. Then the loop. So loop is the path which originates and terminates at the same node. So see this here. This path here, it travels like this and then this and it again reaches here. So this is like a loop. Therefore, it is a loop. And non-touching loops. Two or more loops are said to be non-touching if they do not have a common node. So for example, if we extend here like this and here we have some loop again. So in this case, these two loops are non-touching as they do not have any common node. And what if we have a special loop here like this? So in this case, these two are touching each other because they have a common node with them. And therefore, these two are the pair of touching loops. Remember this. These two are non-touching and these are touching. Okay, let's assume one more case, that if you have this kind of diagram. So here you can see that these two nodes are common. Therefore, these two loops are touching loops. They are not non-touching loops. Remember this. Then we have some basic points here that loops or self loops on the defined input nodes are not valid loops. Means if you have some loop like this here or something like here, any loop, or it is like this, then these loops are not valid loops. Loops or self loops on the defined output nodes are valid loops. So if you have this loop like this here, then you can see that we will extend this here CS by unity gain. Therefore, this loop will become valid. Only output can be extended with the unity gain. Input cannot be extended with a unity gain. This is the difference. It can be asked in many examinations. Remember it. In case of multiple input and multiple output, so when there are many input and many output, assume initial conditions to be 0 and at a time consider only one input and one output. So whenever you have to solve, only one input and one output is considered. You have to make other input and output as 0. So basically signal flow graph is used to find the transfer function. Till now we have seen the terminology and some rules. Now we are going to see the formula for calculating the transfer function. This formula is popularly known as Mason's gain formula. So the overall gain or transfer function is denoted by summation of pk into delta k upon delta, which is p1 into delta 1 plus p2 into delta 2 and so on, divided by delta. And now what is the p1? P1 is the path gain of first forward path, or you can say pk is equal to path gain of kth forward path. And what is delta? Delta is 1 minus sum of loop gains of all individual loops. So first step was to find all the forward path and find the value of P1, P2 and so on. Now in second step we will see all the loops. So 1 minus sum of all the gains of all individual loop plus sum of gain products of two non-touching loops. After finding the loops, you will see the pair of non-touching loops and you will write the product here. Then minus sum of gain products of three non-touching loops. And similarly, it will continue. And what is delta 1, delta 2, delta 3? So delta k is the value of delta obtained by removing all the loops touching to the kth forward path. So for understanding this formula, you need to have some example. Let's solve this question of GATE 2017 to get a better understanding of this formula. So you have a system here. In this system, whose signal flow graph is shown in the figure, U1s and U2s are inputs. So you have a multiple input here. The transfer function of Ys upon U1s. So you have to find this transfer function. Here you can see that we are considering only one output and one input. Therefore, we will make this input equal to 0 for our calculation of this transfer function. So this was your signal flow graph, and here first the number of forward path. So number of forward path is only one, which is this. And if you consider this, then this is your backward path, means feedback path, not forward. And here also this is your feedback, not forward. So the number of forward path is 1, and then the number of loops. So the number of loops are, this is your loop 1, this is your loop 2, and there are no further loops. So the number of loops is equal to 2. Now the number of non-touching loop pairs. So you can see that in these two loops, these have some common nodes. Therefore, the number of non-touching loop pairs is equal to 0. Now, using the Mason gain formula, the required transfer function is, since only one path is there, therefore P1 into delta 1 upon delta. So what is the P1? P1 is 1 into 1 upon L into 1 upon S into K, then 1 upon J1, 1 upon S, and then into 1. So this is your P1. And then delta 1. Before calculating delta 1, first calculate delta. So delta is what? 1 minus sum of individual loops. So loops are this one, which is minus R into 1 upon L into 1 upon S. This is your first loop. And this is your second loop, which is 1 upon L into 1 upon S into K1 into 1 upon J1 into 1 upon S into K2. Here I forgot to write minus, so it is minus K2. So when you write here, then this is your second loop, and since these two loops are touching each other, so number of non-touching loops are 0. Therefore, we will not continue further because everything will be 0 here. So on solving this, we get this. Now delta 1 was what? Delta 1 was the value of delta obtained by removing all the loops touching the path 1. So these two loops are present in path 1. So if you remove them, then you will get delta 1 is equal to 1 minus 0. Therefore, delta 1 is equal to 1. So here again I have written everything. You can see this. And now we will put these values here. Therefore, this is your transfer function. On rearrangement, you will get this. So this is how you're going to calculate transfer function using signal flow graph. So this was all about the block diagram reduction method and signal flow graph. If you like this video, then please give a thumbs up and do subscribe for more such videos. You can even suggest me some videos by commenting also. You can even comment your queries also. And to get instant notification, hit the bell icon. If you feel, then you can share this video also. Thank you.